back in the special forces realm. I don't know why I get so many inspirational stories out of special forces. Maybe because they're inspirational. I don't know. Um, but I okay. There's a concept. I listened to a podcast with Jocko Willenick, who is like a special forces leadership guy. I don't know. I think he's pretty cool. Uh, and I can't remember. I wish I could remember, but he was talking about somebody that like he was like in a leadership rollover coming through the teams, and this kid was like pretty impressive. Uh, he was like a Asian American kid, a little bit smaller, uh, and he came through and became like a member of the Navy SEALs, but then eventually like went on and went to like some. I mean, I want to say like Harvard, like some really high end Ivy League school. So he got
Okay.
accepted there. And I think he got a doctorate there, like a medical doctorate. And, and then, and now he works for NASA and he's an astronaut. Like, impressive. You know what I mean? Like, just one of these like wild overperformers and just so intelligent, right? And, but he talked about his background, and all of a sudden you go, wait, what? 'Cause I don't know, people can come from anywhere, I guess, but essentially, I don't know. I'll tell about like the biggest. Like there was many things about his background that were very difficult. Primarily, that he had a wildly abusive father, and the father was also like very mentally ill. Like had like would like to his children would express like I'm going to kill myself and all these things. And ultimately, like as a young man, his father got in trouble and ended up barricaded in like an attic and essentially like forced the police hand. And he essentially committed like suicide by cop, right? Like he made the police kill him because he wouldn't like follow commands and surrender, right? So that's where this kid comes from that became a Navy SEAL that graduated Harvard or some Ivy League school, uh, and that now is an astronaut with NASA, right? Uh, and what I found fascinating is he talked about feeling so out of control, and that he didn't get to like choose as a youth. He just didn't get to choose anything in his life, and his life was chaos, right? And when he joined the military, and specifically when he went through, I think it's called buds, but I don't know. I
It
don't know
is.
this stuff. But he went through buds where he became a Navy SEAL, right? And like how difficult it was, and how calming and good it felt. And what was interesting about it to me is like coming from that level of chaos and trauma at such a young age, right? And what was interesting also is that Jocko kind of identified, he's like, yeah, either I've experienced this or I see it over and over again. This is like an archetype, not the primary and only archetype of like special force operators, but that this is one that they commonly see is people coming from these wildly chaotic, dangerous, traumatic, abusive backgrounds, and that being a Navy SEAL, that level of difficulty and hard work and discipline and even danger, because eventually he's deployed and he's like in active combat situations, and he talks about that feeling very like, this is what I was called to do, like I'm supposed to be here in gunfights, right? And quick jump to you, I know that your ultra marathon interest and career started in the wake of a very traumatic relationship. Anyway, I saw some real parallels there. And here's my hypothesis for this young man in the special forces, right? I think that if you come from that level of trauma, or you have something that hard that you didn't feel in control of, that you need to pick something of equal intensity, but that you chose, and that you get to decide, like you get to interact with it on your terms. And that something about that can be a very healing thing to trauma,